guys, what is going on? Blossom is back, and welcome back to a massive series on the channel. Welcome back to Blossom's Ultimate Upgrade Guide. It's been a very long time, and I think it's time to kick it back on. So, of course, we are going to do the Super Rare Ultimate Blossom Guide. We did one for Ultra Rares. That is outdated now. Some of the cars may remain the same of all the twerks and features and quirks and features and changes and nerfs and buffs. It's just not as credible anymore. But anyway, we are now doing a post PL15 guide, and we are starting off with the Super Rares, and we are starting off with RQ40. So there are going to be some changes to the series. First of all, the design's a little bit different. Obviously, you know, Super Rare is going to be more yellow than the red design in the Ultra Rare. And of course, each episode we're going to have a question of the episode. Not really question of the day, because I'm not going to be posting this episode every day in the series. That would be boring. But welcome to, and also because these episodes take a really long time to make. So if you want to support the channel, link in the description below to my Patreon. I would really appreciate that. But anyway, question of the episode: which car did not go up in rarity? Comment down below if you know what the answer was. Okay, so let's talk about the tunes. So how it works over here in Blossom's Ultimate Upgrade Guide is I will talk about how I personally would upgrade all the cars in that RQ. Then I would talk about how useful they are among each other, and then I will give them a final ranking, and I will tell you why. So for Super Rares, it's going to be very well, all of it will be the same almost, as in most cars are going to be 969. So we have these. Basically every car here you want a 969, and every car here you also want a 969, and also every car here you want a 969. So you know, when it comes to the non-ultra meta, I know a lot of people wanted me to do Super Rares, but the meta is going to be like this for the lower RQs up to about 47. That's when we get, you know, Ultra Rares that used, you know, cars that used to be Ultra Rares moving on to Super Rare, where some of them may be viable in 699, because now Super Rares, the meta is changing for the RQ 47 and above, because there are some cars that you probably want to 699 first, a lot of 50-50 kind of cars, but for RQ40 it's mostly just 969 for everything: performance tires, all surface tires, off-road tires, you name it. 699 literally nothing. Like, this is basically for cars where I only want to 699. There is no car which only deserves to be 699. 996, there are a couple over here: Chrysler Cronus, the D Tommaso Mangusta, the Lamborghini Miura Roadster, the Lancia D24, Pininfarina, Spider Super Sport, and the Maserati 430. And then we get the pretty interesting stuff, the either or. We have the Peugeot 208, the Alfa Romeo Giulia TZ, and the Donkervoort S8A, all falling under that 699 or 969 category. Now, this is an interesting thing, because the Peugeot, for example, 699 wins about 40%, I want to say. 969 still wins about 60%. So because of that, I would still go 969 first on the Peugeot 208, but it would be good to have a 699 second as well. It's the same for the Giulia TZ. I would go 969 first, 699 second, and of course for the Donkervoort S8A. The Subaru Alcyone, a little bit different. 969 because four-wheel drive, you know, you want to use it for the wet sometimes, but you also need to recognize that it is an RQ40 with a very high top speed. 154 for an RQ40 is pretty impressive, especially in that Japanese niche. And the Subaru Alcyone has over 70 MRI. Now, I know that isn't saying too much in the grand scale of things, but when it comes to only Subaru, 70 plus is pretty good, actually, especially with that top speed as well. So 996, pretty viable way to go. And then in terms of cars that I want to get duplicates of, basically, you know, what are the best of the best? I would go the Alfa Romeo Giulia TZ. I would go 233 and 323, or 699 and 969. The Peugeot 208 R2, same thing. I'll go 969 and 699. Jaguar E-Pace, just because it's like one of the kings of the standard tire meta for RQ40, just because it simply handles the best. So I would get two of them at 969. And the Subaru Alcyone, it would be smart to have one drag spec for very niche Japanese situations and niche four-wheel drive low ground clearance situations. And then I would also have 969 for the wet situations as well. Now, two new things that we're adding to the series. The first one is, of course, question of the episode. The second one is obviously top drives records, just to really nail in. So, you know, it's basically like, I'll tell you this much, right? We'll have the time section of the episode for the purists, you know, the ones that only want to believe what they believe when they see the times. And then obviously the tier ranking would be based off obviously the times that we've seen, but also my feelings, because I mean, at the end of the day, I've played this game for 5 years. I think I know what cars are more useful and what aren't. Obviously, there's space for me to learn still. Like for example, I didn't know that the Dodge Grand Caravan was the best freaking car for city streets small. I always thought it was the Jaguar E-Pace that was best for small and medium, and that is the case for medium. But as you can see, it falls in third place out of all the cars tested. Now obviously the Honda, the Chrysler, the Infiniti, the Vauxhall, all of these cars have not been tested on Top Drives records. But over here you can see that the E-Pace is actually third to the Oldsmobile Aurora, which is actually, you know what, the Oldsmobile Aurora was quite impressive. The fact that it's the best car here for fast circuit, Monaco hairpin, and city street small. Can I say that it is the best of the best? No, because some of these cars don't have any times, but it is safe to assume that the Jaguar E-Pace is among one of the best. It just is, and I know this. It's been some of the best for a long time, and that's because it simply handles the most. Best car for the car park, the G-Force. Now I do believe that if you actually get in the times with the Honda HR-V, this should be the best car for the car park maybe, but everything else, you know, the Jaguar E-Pace, as you can see, it has the most golds and even a silver in the fast circuit of all things as well. So definitely a strong car. I would say the Grand Caravan is another car to look out for, just because it's really good on the hairpin as well as the city street small. Next one I want to talk about is the drag meta for RQ40s, and straight off the bat you can see that it's dominated by the Lamborghini Miura Roadster and the Lancia D24 Pininfarina. Everything else is just second fiddle, to be honest. The Maserati 430 is really useless, and so is the Chrysler Cronus. The Chrysler Cronus is decent MRA, and it looks like it's coming in third place across the board basically. The only thing that the Chrysler has is that it's kind of like the best American, I guess, RQ40 dragster. That isn't saying too much though, because 2 RQ more and you can go with a 69 Charger, which is better in every metric. The Jaguar XK8 is special in the sense where it's like the best one for the fast circuit. It beats all the dragsters here on the fast circuit, but then again, for the fast meta, quarter mile, half mile, for RQ40 only, you want to focus on the Pininfarina Lancia, which is a lot better now. It's gone down in RQ. And then the Lamborghini Miura Roadster, everybody knows this already, it's a 1 mile beast, but especially a test bowl monster. Now I want to talk about the medium ground clearance ones, and over here the Volvo 850 takes the cake. Obviously there is no time for the Bentley Continental T, but for a heavy car that doesn't handle, I wouldn't expect it to get the golds away from the 850. What I would say, which was a bit of a shock, was how close the Audi A4 was. The Audi A4 comes second in city street small and medium, beating the Mercedes, the Jaguar, and the Dodge Spirit as well. Why it's surprising is because the Audi A4 is also a very heavy car and shares similar stats compared to the Bentley Continental. But I do believe that the Audi only handles just a little better, but honestly that little change might be night and day. That being said, the Volvo 850 seems to be the best car here, which is saying a lot because the Volvo 850 T5R was the only one here that was a rare. Everything else was a super rare, you know, before PL15. So very impressive stuff from the Volvo to take names over here. Okay, and last but not least is the Twisty Meta. Now above over here, as you can see, this long list of nothing. Well, not of nothing. The long list is going to be the off-road comparison. I'm gonna be completely honest. For most of the off-roaders and all service tire cars in this entire series, I'm going to go off feeling for it. Feeling, you know, using them in the past, how much I use them in clubs and multiplayer, all that kind of stuff, how much value it gets me. Because when it comes to testing off-road all-service tire cars, the track sets are freaking endless. It's honestly endless. Look at this. You look. Just look at all those times. You would need to be testing like 50 races per car. I'm not doing that, and I don't think anybody, I mean, if you are doing that, you are a hero, but I am not doing that. Especially a lot of these off-road track sets you can't even find in the campaign. So based off what we see over here, we can see that the Ford Bronco V8 is kind of like the dragster. The Dodge Ram Charger seems to be the best car for many of the situations, but the Ford Explorer, very surprising, winning the gravel twisty. Actually, not very surprising at all, because it's gravel against a bunch of off-road tire cars. Off-road tire cars tend to, you know, be less effective on gravel. But what I can see and deduce from what I see over here is that the Dodge Ram Charger seems to be the car that stands out the most with the most gold. In the bottom is the Twisty Meta for the RQ40s, and straight off the bat, you can see the Giulia TZ is taking names for the car park in the G-Force at 323, and at 233 or 699, it is the better car to use on the karting circuit, but it isn't the better car to use on the slalom test. So, you know, once again, it's a car where you can go off two tunes, and it's kind of like either or. This one really isn't a 40-60 kind of situation, though. I think the 323 is just the better car. It is the best RQ40 for car park, G-Force, and slalom. Renault Sport Spider is the best for indoor karting circuit, twisty road. The Jaguar XK8, once again, as we saw earlier, for the fast circuit, and the Volvo, once again, tying with the Renault on karting circuit, and the best on the hairpin. I gotta say that the biggest disappointment over here is going to be the lightweight Donkavort S8A, as it wins nothing. It doesn't have a single silver medal amongst its competition as well. Very sad showing from the Donkavort S8A. And then we move on to RQ41, but that's going to be for another episode. So now we're going to move on to my tier list. Okay guys, welcome to the RQ41 tier list, and these are going to be the ranking names that I'm going to be using for the future. So we have Yell and Sell, Stock and Unlock, Club and Dub, Use and Fuse as in upgrade the car, and Pack and Max. Now unfortunately Pack and Max isn't really, they don't really rhyme, huh? Pack and Max, a little bit. Anyway, this is basically my ranking of RQ40s. Yell and Sell is basically the hot garbage tier, cars that really don't get you any value at all. Jaguar XKR, Maserati 430, D Tommaso Mangusta, Infiniti Q45, Vauxhall Signum. All these cars are definitely hot garbage. As you saw in the times, they win absolutely nothing. But above that, based off, because I own a lot of these cars, I own the Mangusta, I own the XJR, I own the Infiniti. I gotta be honest, I never use them. They are horrible. Why? They don't handle. They're hybrids, jack of all trades, master of none. Stock and Unlock are cars where they have minimal value. There is a little bit of shining lights there, but it isn't much. Like the Chrysler Kronos, yeah, in very niche situations, in low RQ American situations, maybe saloon where you can't use the charger and it's all drag, then maybe the Kronos can get you some value. It's the same thing for the Donkavort. It's still lightweight, but like it will lose to all the twisty cars, and the Dodge Spirit R as well. So a bunch of disappointing cars, just a little shy of hot garbage. You have Club and Dub, which are cars that definitely have their uses. Some of them might be in the best in some situations as well. You have cars like the Volvo 850, which is like the go-to city streets medium car. You have cars like the Volvo V40, which is the hairpin car. You have cars like the Jaguar XK8, which is like the fast circuit car. So all of these cars definitely have value, and the Oldsmobile Aurora was a bit of a dark horse as well on the fast circuit. We have Use and Fuse, the Audi A4 being a pretty decent medium ground clearance car to use. In fact, I'm actually going to move the Volvo up just because it was the best one to use. I'm actually going to move it up there. Medium ground clearance is very important. I don't know why I put it in Club and Dub. But yeah, we have the Audi, which is, you know, the second best in the city street situation. Honda HR-V, I know they weren't a lot of times in the comparison, but I have this car max, and I understand that it is a very useful car to use. I mean, you compare it to the E-Pace, they handle the same. They're both four-wheel drive. They're both standard. The only difference is that one has a slightly lower 0 to 60, but that makes a pretty big difference. Dodge Caravan, bit of a dark horse as well, and the Pininfarina, which is your quarter-mile specialist for the RQ40. Only reason why it's not in Pack and Max is because they are, you know, cars that you can use that are better, that are slightly higher in RQ. And then last but not least is Pack and Max. These are cars which are like the pinnacle of their RQ. The main one being the Peugeot 208, okay, because if you look at the twisty comparison, I did not include the Peugeot 208 R2. In fact, I cannot include it, because if I include the Peugeot, it wouldn't be fair. It will take all of the golds, literally all of it but fast circuit, and it would make all the other twisty cars look like crap. So it goes without saying that the Peugeot 208 is fantastic. It's Blossom choice. The Alfa Romeo Giulia TZ is a really strong car still because it's very light and has a low 0 to 60. The E-Pace for that four-wheel drive and that handling. The Miro Roadster for the Tesla specialist. The Renault Spider because it's the other best twisty car. And of course the Volvo for that medium ground clearance niche. But basically guys, that is going to wrap up RQ40 40. Yeah, I was about to say 41. It's IQ 40. So let me know if you like the reintroduction of this series. Once again, if you like what you see, comment down below with some positives, vibes, like the video, subscribe, and join my Patreon if you want to join the family as well. But basically, guys, this video is, you know, this series is going to take a lot of time per video, but I really hope that it helps you guys out. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today. I hope you found this video helpful. Remember to stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Sit back, relax in my Bonneville Pontiac. Hold tight all night.